Noah Carter was 17 years old. He lived with his mother, Melissa, and his younger brother, Ethan, in a small apartment on the outskirts of Cleveland, Ohio. His father had left the family years ago. Since then, his mother had been doing everything she could to keep the family together. She worked two jobs. In the mornings, she worked as a cashier at a grocery store. In the evenings, she cleaned offices in downtown Cleveland. But even with two jobs, the money was never enough. Almost every night, the kitchen table was covered in bills: rent, electricity, insurance, food, car repairs. There was always something else that needed to be paid. Noah saw how exhausted his mother was. That was why he almost never asked her for money. Even when he needed something, he stayed quiet. At school, however, staying quiet became harder. Most of Noah's classmates seemed to have everything: new phones, expensive headphones, designer hoodies, brand new sneakers. Noah had an old phone with a cracked screen. His shoes were worn out. And most days, he wore the same black hoodie. One afternoon, Noah was standing near his locker when a group of boys walked past him. One of them looked at his phone and laughed. "Bro, you still use that thing?" Another boy grinned. "That phone belongs in a museum." Everyone laughed. Noah laughed too. But he did not think it was funny. He only laughed because he did not want them to see that the joke hurt him. Across the hallway, another student was showing off a pair of expensive new sneakers. A group of people surrounded him. Everyone wanted to see them. Noah looked down at his own shoes. For the first time, he did not just feel poor. He felt ashamed of being poor. A few days later, Noah went to the mall with his friend Luca. Luca was 18 years old. He was confident. He always had new clothes, new shoes, and somehow he always had cash. Noah had never really asked where the money came from. Until that afternoon. They entered a small store inside the mall. While Noah was looking around, Luca picked up an energy drink. Then he looked over his shoulder. He opened his jacket and slipped the can inside. Noah stared at him. "Bro, did you just steal that?" Luca smiled. "Relax. What if someone saw you?" Luca shrugged. "It's $5, nobody cares." They walked out of the store. No one stopped them. No security guard came running. No employee shouted. Nothing happened. And that moment stayed in Noah's mind. A few days later, Noah returned to the mall alone. He walked past a small accessories store. Inside the window was a black bracelet he had wanted for weeks. It cost $29. For some people, $29 was nothing. For Noah, it was money he could not afford to spend. He entered the store. He picked up the bracelet. He looked at it. Then he put it back. He walked away. But after a few seconds, he stopped. He thought about school. He thought about Luca. He thought about being laughed at. And then he heard Luca's words in his head. "Relax, nobody cares." Noah walked back to the bracelet. His heart started beating faster. He looked around. Then he made a decision. He put the bracelet in his pocket. For several seconds, Noah could barely move. He was sure someone had seen him. He expected to hear a voice behind him. But nothing happened. He slowly walked toward the exit. One step, then another, then another. Finally, he walked outside. No one followed him. For the first time, Noah had stolen something. He should have felt terrible. Part of him did. But another part of him felt something completely different. Power. He had wanted something. He could not afford it. And now he had it. That evening, his mother noticed the bracelet. "That's nice, is it new?" Noah froze. For a second, he considered telling her the truth. Instead, he said, "Luca gave it to me." His mother smiled. That was nice of him. Noah looked down. He had not only stolen something, he had now lied to his mother as well. That night, Noah promised himself it would never happen again. Just this once. That was what he told himself. But it was not just once. A week later, he stole again. Then again. At first, they were small things. A cap, a bottle of cologne, a cheap pair of headphones. Every time he got away with it, the fear became smaller. And every time the fear became smaller, the next theft became easier. Then Luca noticed. One day, Luca looked at Noah's new cap. "Where'd you get that?" Noah shrugged. Luca stared at him for a second. Then he smiled. "No way." Noah said nothing. Luca laughed. "You finally did it." Noah looked around nervously. "Keep your voice down." Luca put his hand on Noah's shoulder. "I knew you had it in you." For the first time, Luca treated him like an equal. Later that evening, Luca sent him a message. "Come with me tonight." Noah almost said no. But curiosity won. Luca picked him up and drove across the city. They eventually stopped outside an old apartment building. Noah looked at it. "Whose place is this?" "A friend." They went upstairs. A young man opened the door. His name was Marcus Reed. Marcus was 23. He did not look dangerous. He was calm, well-dressed, almost friendly. Inside the apartment were several other young men. And then Noah saw the table. It was covered in merchandise. Shoes, clothing, perfume, headphones, phones, electronics. Everything looked new. Noah immediately understood where it had come from. Marcus noticed his expression. "First time." Noah nodded. Marcus smiled. "Relax, nobody's forcing you to do anything." That sentence made Noah feel safer. And that was exactly why it was dangerous. This was not some massive criminal organization. It was a small group of young people stealing merchandise and reselling it for cash. Marcus was the person connecting everything. People brought him stolen goods. He paid them. Then the products disappeared through different buyers. At first, Noah only watched. Marcus did not pressure him. Before Noah left, Marcus simply said, "If you ever want to make some money, Luca knows how to reach me." On the drive home, Noah was silent. Finally, he looked at Luca. "This is different." Luca kept his eyes on the road. "Different from what?" "From stealing a bracelet." Luca smiled slightly. "Everything starts small." Noah would remember those words for a long time. A few weeks passed. Then things at home became worse. His mother's car broke down. The repair was almost $900. One night, Noah walked past the kitchen and saw his mother sitting at the table. She was crying. Quietly. She thought Noah was asleep. He was not. The next morning, Noah messaged Luca. "Does Marcus still need people?" The reply came almost immediately. "Yeah." Noah told himself he was doing it for his family. Maybe he could help his mother. Maybe he could buy groceries. Maybe he could finally contribute. But deep down, Noah knew that was not the whole truth. He also liked the money, the excitement, and the feeling of finally being somebody. At first, Noah only brought Marcus things occasionally. Marcus paid him cash. $50. Sometimes 100. For Noah, it felt like a fortune. Then Marcus started contacting him more often. "You free tonight? Can you come by? Lucas says you're reliable." Reliable. That word mattered to Noah. At school, he was the poor kid with a broken phone. To Marcus, he was useful. The group slowly became a second family. They ate together, played video games, talked about cars, joked around. It did not feel like organized crime. It felt like friendship. And because it felt like friendship, Noah did not notice how deep he was getting. Within a few months, he had money. Not thousands of dollars, but enough to change how people saw him. New sneakers, new clothes, new headphones. He started eating out with friends. People at school noticed. One student looked at his new shoes. "Damn, Noah finally got some money." Noah smiled. Something like that. For the first time, he was not the poor kid. He loved that feeling. But every new purchase created another lie. His mother asked him one evening, "Where are you getting all this money?" Noah looked away. "I've been helping Luca's uncle." "Doing what?" "Moving stuff." It was almost true. And almost true was becoming Noah's favorite kind of lie. Eventually, Marcus started changing too. At first, he had always been friendly. Then his messages became more demanding. If Noah said he could not come, Marcus would ask, "Why not?" If Noah refused twice, Marcus would say, "I thought you were reliable." Later, the messages became darker. "Don't forget who's been looking out for you." Noah began to realize something. He was no longer sure he could simply walk away. Marcus knew where he lived. He knew where Noah went to school. He knew about his mother. Maybe Marcus would never hurt him. But Noah did not know that. And the fear was enough. Even Luca changed. He became more nervous. More aggressive. Sometimes he disappeared for days. One night, Noah sat in Luca's car. He looked out of the window. "You ever think about stopping?" Luca laughed. "Stopping and doing what?" "I don't know, getting a normal job." Luca looked at him. "You mean working all day for minimum wage? At least it's legal." Luca shook his head. "You weren't saying that when Marcus was paying you." Noah stayed silent. Luca looked back at the road. "We all wanted this." That sentence hurt because it was true. Nobody had forced Noah to steal the first bracelet. Nobody had forced him to message Luca. Nobody had forced him to take the money. Then one evening, Noah came home and saw his bedroom door open. His younger brother Ethan was sitting on the bed. In his hands was a thick stack of cash. Noah's face changed immediately. "What are you doing?" Ethan stared at him. "Where did you get this?" Noah grabbed the money. "Don't touch my stuff." Ethan looked scared. "Are you selling drugs?" "No." "Then where is all this money coming from?" Noah said nothing. Ethan looked at him for a long moment. Then he quietly said, "Mom thinks you're doing better." Noah froze. That sentence hit harder than anything else. "Don't tell her." Ethan shook his head. "What are you doing, Noah? You wouldn't understand." "Then explain it." Noah opened his mouth. But no words came out. Because by that point, Noah barely understood it himself. Several weeks later, everything collapsed. Noah and Luca entered a large retail store. To Noah, it felt routine. They had done similar things before. But this time, they were already being watched. As they approached the exit, two security guards moved toward them. "Stop right there." Luca immediately ran. Noah did not. Maybe he was too shocked. Maybe he was too scared. Or maybe a part of him was simply tired of running. One of the guards stepped in front of him. Noah looked toward the exit. Then back at the guard. His body felt frozen. A few minutes later, someone called the police. Noah sat in a small room behind the store. The walls were plain. The fluorescent lights were painfully bright. His hands would not stop shaking. Then he heard sirens outside. When the police arrived, an officer told Noah to stand up. The officer placed handcuffs around his wrists. Click. Noah would remember that sound for years. Click. Suddenly, none of it felt exciting anymore. There was no easy money. No respect. No thrill. There was only fear. Later, his mother arrived. Noah sat at a table. He could not look at her. Melissa stood in the doorway for several seconds without speaking. Then she asked one question. "How long?" Noah remained silent. "How long have you been doing this?" He swallowed. Months. His mother closed her eyes. The clothes. Noah nodded. The money. He nodded again. All of it. Most of it. Melissa sat down. Then she started crying. Noah had seen his mother cry before. When his father left. When relatives died. When money became impossible. But this time was different. This time Noah knew he was the reason. She looked at him. I thought you were doing better. The exact same words Ethan had said. Noah could not look at her. After Noah was arrested, police began looking deeper into the group. Luca was arrested a few days later. Other people connected to Marcus were questioned. Marcus disappeared for a while. Then Noah's phone started receiving messages. Don't say anything. You don't know anybody. Remember who helped you. For the first time, Noah truly understood what kind of situation he had entered. The people he had called friends were loyal only while everything was going well. The moment things fell apart, everyone tried to save themselves. Eventually, Noah told the truth. Not all at once, but piece by piece. The following months were filled with lawyers, court appointments, meetings, and difficult conversations with his family. At school, rumors spread quickly. Some students called him a criminal. Others suddenly wanted to hear every detail. A few even thought the story sounded cool. Noah did not. There was nothing cool about watching your mother cry because of you. Nothing cool about seeing fear in your younger brother's eyes. Nothing cool about wondering whether your future had just been destroyed. Months later, Noah saw Luca outside a courthouse. Luca looked different. Tired. No expensive clothes. No confident smile. They looked at each other. Yo. Hey. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Luca asked. You regret it? Noah looked down. Every day. Luca nodded. Same. It was probably the most honest conversation they had ever had. Over time, Noah started rebuilding his life. Slowly. He got a part-time job at a small auto parts store. The money was nothing compared to what Marcus had sometimes paid him. But when Noah received his first legal paycheck, he stared at it for a long time. It felt different. He did not need to hide it. He did not need to lie about it. He did not have to look over his shoulder. When he got home, he placed some of the money on the kitchen table. His mother looked at it. What's this? For groceries. Keep it. Noah shook his head. Mom, please. She stared at him for a moment. Then she took the money. I'm proud that you're trying. Noah looked away before she could see his eyes filling with tears. Almost a year later, Noah returned to the same mall where everything had started. He stood outside and stared at the entrance. He thought about the bracelet. $29. That was all it had been. A $29 bracelet. He had not joined a theft ring because he woke up one morning wanting to become a criminal. It happened slowly. First, he wanted to fit in. Then he wanted something he could not afford. Then he wanted money. Then he wanted respect. Then he wanted more. One small decision became another. And another. Until one day Noah looked around and realized he had become someone he barely recognized. That was the lesson he would never forget. People rarely destroy their lives with one enormous decision. Usually, it happens through dozens of small ones. Each one feels harmless. Each one feels temporary. Each one comes with the same excuse. Just this once. Until one day, you turn around and realize just how far you've gone.